ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, crew?
Oh, shit.
Oh, welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the Producer Lounge. Yes. This is our show about music production.
Yes, it is.
It's kind of a podcast, but it's also like not a podcast, more of a show. And we're going to sit here and talk about things that's going on in ours producers' worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it might get icky, sticky. It might get
Ooey gooey.
ooey gooey. It might get globby gooey, even. It might even get shimmy shaky.
Oh, God.
But, folks,
We only go there occasionally.
let me tell you what.
It's a little far.
Our mini meter plugin is not working at the moment.
Damn.
But have
Chad's
no fear.
bummed.
I'll drag this bad boy to a place where I can see it, and we'll go ahead and open settings real quick, folks, and fix this. Hey, look at that. There we go. Beautiful. If you're watching, you just saw that happen before your eyes, and you're welcome. If you're listening on audio,
You're missing out.
Keep the treadmill up, though. Like, you're killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, traffic isn't going to kill you. You'll be all right. How's everybody's week? How's everything running in the DAWs for the boys and girls?
It was a good week. Didn't get a whole lot accomplished.
Nice.
But I did. I was, fine-tuning that remix.
Mm-hmm,
That was like the majority of what I was doing.
Tight.
Playing around with that, fiddling. Even though, like, the idea was already there. I was just tweak into the darkness forever for no reason. But it seems to like baby step. You get
Right,
a little
of
bit
course.
more out of it each time.
As long as you're not in there too long. Because if you're in there tweaking too long, you make bad decisions. But if you're in
Exactly.
there tweaking for just a little bit at a time, you can make headway. As long as you're careful.
It's fun to tweak.
I agree.
I'm not. We don't really release shit, so I don't do that just because.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
Like shit's gonna get played in the
If
club.
it's club ready,
and that's fine.
There's a level of tweaking that you get to where it's like, okay, this is like enough ear candy for like a club. Like people will hear it for up to 2 minutes. Cool. Good enough. And then if it goes off, that's when you're like, okay, cool, let's start continuing this fucking tweakage.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
up to that point, like there's no point to continue.
Yeah.
But if you are releasing, it is good to sit there and tinker until it's getting all fucking polished up.
Yeah. Go and get those little teeny details
They're
taken
so
care
important.
of. Do a bunch of automating and
Yep.
tightening and looking where things are touching each other. You know, I was thinking this week, I want a EQ that doesn't get that has an even distribution of frequencies. So like
Okay.
So the high end.
so like
So
the
it's really
difference
big,
between
it's really wide.
20
Or
and
it's
21 is the same as the
Right, what's
distance
that
between
called?
10,000
I think that
and
exists.
10,001.
So your high end is like huge,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would be sick.
I'm
I would
pretty sure
really
that
enjoy
exists.
something like that. Yeah.
Because it would be so nice to look at your high end and just see where you're getting like crazy buildup,
Right.
like in a
I'm surprised, like
spread
Pro
out
Q,
kind of way.
right?
Yeah.
Doesn't have like well, I guess that would be just like a linear EQ instead of like an exponential, the way we have them.
You would think, yeah, something like that.
Right. Yeah, I really want, if they ever do Pro Q4, which I'm assuming they will, I want to have the ability to adjust how thick all of your little lines are inside the EQ, because that annoys the shit out of me
like
with Pro Q.
if it's like really faint, like you can't
Like
see it.
the thickness and thinness of like all the little frequencies. Because
Are
on
they-
Pro Q,
are
on
they
the
too thick or?
they're too thick for me, dude. Yeah,
Oh,
they're
I see.
so thick.
I see.
Especially like towards the low end. Like when you look at a sub on Pro Q3, it looks like it's covering like 20 frequencies.
Oh, I see what
And
you. Are you talking about just the response, like the audio that comes through?
Yeah, the visual.
The visual.
The visual of the audio.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can tighten that up. You just
Can
have
you?
just have to speed it up.
The speeding up helps. I have done that, yeah.
But I think there's something else you can do.
Oh shit! Am I just in the dark on this?
We can take a look at it.
Yeah, we
we'll
should take a look at
it. I'm trying to figure out what that's called when an EQ is evenly distributed.
Right.
Type in like linear.
No, because
dispersion.
that's I guess.
Because I imagine the one we're using is like the exponential, because it's getting smaller and smaller.
Distribution. I spelled that wrong.
I have no idea though.
Yeah, so my week, I haven't done a whole lot in the DAW this week, but we've been preparing for a set in a couple days. So we've been doing a lot of DJing and downloading and thinking about songs we want to play and what we want to do. So, been doing that, which is fun. To all the people going to DJ out there, just do everybody in the world that you're playing for a favor and download high quality WAVs of everything you're going to play. It actually makes, obviously you guys know.
You guys know this, but
you're here for the producer lounge.
It's good to have the reminder though.
We're talking about high quality audio.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Even
Then you don't have that situation where you go from one song to the next and it just sounds like, whoa, this is terrible quality all of a sudden.
Right, and it's a little bit quieter for some reason.
Yeah,
like
you get the contrast of one MP3 to another. It just is not great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, basically don't be the YouTube to MP3 DJ.
Yeah.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
it's fine to like practice with.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not spending a bunch of money, but once you
great for
start figuring out what songs you're actually going to play, just buy them. Like,
yeah. And maybe you'll get lucky. Some of these guys will give you a free download in their SoundCloud. So always check that.
True.
But
true. You could be the free download DJ.
I'll only scoop those
DJ
up.
free download.
DJ free download. Just bottom tier.
I only play random people's fucking free shit.
Yeah.
we're going to have to get back to that, to the EQ that's evenly distributed. I can't find anything at the moment.
Yeah, we need
John,
need
if you're in chat. Yeah, if you're in chat, John,
look this up for us and then send it in.
Well, he'll just be able to translate the poor description of it that we have.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's this thing, and you're like, yeah, that's the word.
It's called a thing.
Yeah, it's definitely called a thing, but I can't not remember right now at all.
All right, Pro Q3.
So
and then you'll need like a fucking tune to throw in there.
Yeah. Let's kill the master a little bit and turn off
the Sonar Works.
Sonar Works. Give me a random thing. Too late. Music. God damn it. It's so far away.
Good way to go.
God damn it. I can't look in two places at once. This keyboard is absolute trash. In terms of like being able to type on it. Excuse that sound there, folks. All right. Cool.
Oh, straight into the DAW right at the beginning of the show.
Shit.
Oh, look at us go.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Always 400.
Yeah. Let's pitch it down. I just want to be able to see a bottom fundamental here
Exactly.
for you.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can't make this look better. Very
And like it is
fast.
fine for what it is, you know? Like you can definitely see all the peaks. You should definitely
maybe-
obviously be listening more so anyway.
Yeah, I think resolution. Yeah, well, if you want that, and you're looking for that, if I need to go that route, I would just reach for the good old Spannerino. And if you don't know, you just first off set these. You click on these little numbers up here, and you can set it to 0, which is where you want it.
Right.
And then this is 20 to 20K, so you're good there. But that's pretty big. 'Cause
Oh,
sometimes, sometimes it's all super high, and you're like, why is this all
Can
set?
you stretch out what you're looking at
You can.
Yeah.
on there?
That's almost similar
that's
to kind
like-
of what you're talking
yeah,
about.
you
If you
might
really
be able
wanted
to like
zoom
zoom
in.
on the highs
Yeah.
with that.
All right. Speaking of EQ, that goes up to 96K.
Why?
96K.
What?
That's actually one of my favorite frequency areas.
That's
Pretty,
hilarious.
It's pretty hilarious.
Can we actually make the sound go up there?
And then in settings here, number one, get rid of that slope.
You have the slope at 0.
And then here, you can get your block size super small. But like even my computer's like,
I know, right?
so much shit. But that's not bad with like a nice speed. Could even go maybe one more. And then you can at least see kind of still where things are happening.
A little bit more separation, yeah.
But that's basically, let's get rid of that. You know.
Yeah.
It's slightly better.
Interesting. If you zoom in, can you zoom in on just like the low end on span?
Yeah, sure. Does it just go down to 2K? Oh, okay, so you can just go down to 2K.
I think you can move it left, right somehow.
Hmm. No, it still just goes to 2K.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Stretch it out, baby. Well, cool.
So yeah, that's what I would say if you need something
A little bit sharper.
faster. Yeah. I don't necessarily need anything sharper, like, because I know that hump, like, there's nothing else happening down there. I know it's just a little thing of the sub happening there, and
Right.
like,
Right.
I know because I'm doing my due diligence and everything else to cut out lows and all that kind of stuff that there's really nothing else happening down there unless I say so.
Yeah.
And if so, it's usually just like a little bit of noise that will kind of roll off at 50 just to kind of give some body to the overall track or whatever. But like, yeah. But I understand wishing
Right.
for like a laser tight,
Dude, yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And it honestly, it wouldn't really even help that much, but it would just be nice to see it.
Yeah. Look at an oscilloscope, you know? Like, if your low end's good, it's going to show up looking like a sine wave on the oscilloscope, you know? That's the fucking move.
Right.
I mean,
Big
you
lump.
can't quite tune from an oscilloscope unless you're really fucking nerdy.
I know, right?
You could like see how wide it is per your settings. You're like, that's a dream.
Yes.
Seamless could probably see it.
Seamless could see it.
Seamlesser.
Or Bill.
Seamlesser.
Seamlesser.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah. How was your week, Caleb?
It was pretty good. Worked on a couple new tracks. I got that one that I printed that's kind of that's the drum and bassy one, and satisfied-ish with that one. Might make a couple changes, but overall I'm kind of like, it's fucking probably ready for the club. And then I went back to this techno one, and I recorded vocals for that, which are pretty cool. They need some more like juicing, but they're like techno vocals in the background. They don't really need to be a lot. And then this other breaky track that I've been working on that has like an acid fucking line. I like forgot about it till early this week, and I was like, oh, sick. Let's fucking fuck up this track. So I've been starting to fuck them up, which has been sick.
Yeah. Came up with a fun little vocal for one of them.
Yeah, I need to come up with a vocal for this little acidy 303 one though, because it's like it's pretty fun, and it just kind of needs like a little guy, maybe just a one word, you know, because the acid 303 is taking up the whole spectrum most of the time. You know, like fucking
Right,
going the whole time.
right.
For the
So it's
most
hard
part.
to
yeah. So
fit a vocal in there right next to it.
kind of just need like a pre-drop and then maybe another line where it's like that you like bring in every once in a fucking blue moon.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll figure that out next week. Stay tuned.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, right now it is gig.
It is true.
Time.
It is gig time.
We have practicing to do.
In DJ brain,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
gig brain mode,
Gig brain.
Yeah, Gigabrain.
giga brain mode.
We got Giga Brain
Giga
going
Chad
at
brain.
the moment, dude. Sheesh.
Giga
Well,
Chad
sick, folks.
DJ Brain.
If you have any questions in chat or any comments you think we suck, just let us know.
Yeah. And
Also-
if John, you're here, say hey.
While I have your attention, hit that sub button, you know?
Oh wow.
Let that
early
algorithm
on.
let that algorithm know. Let her know. I mean, I just said it and we got
Yes.
another viewer
Ooh,
immediately.
manifest
so,
destiny,
mean-
Caleb.
sheesh.
I mean, honestly.
Love you guys.
Honestly, we need to get some numbers on this bitch.
Listen, guys, we love you. Thank you.
Yes.
Couldn't be here without you. But we were here
Smash
before
the
you.
buttons and share and do all the fucking things.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Come on.
we don't promote this shit. So, if you think this is fun content and you like to produce and you're down to take an hour or so out of your Tuesday
To have a blast
and
on
hang
the
out,
internet.
fucking bet.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so,
right.
Anybody got any tips of the week?
Hmm.
Tips of the week. I have a little bit of one.
Okay.
Keep your reverbs dark as fuck.
Yes.
Just like EQ into the reverb, like if it's on parallel or
Pre-reverb.
whatever.
EQ.
Usually parallel reverb. If you're making electronic music, just fucking put it in a audio rack or whatever the fuck, Ableton, whatever DAW of your choice, and wet dry the cunt so that you can have it EQ before it. That also is part into the chain, and fucking darken that bitch up. One, it's going to free up processor power because that EQ or that reverb no longer needs to read any high end frequency, which is a lot of info. So it doesn't even have to read any of that going in. And reverbs are dark, guys. Like nobody likes, like, unless you're doing OTT, like big swells, like most of your like gluing reverb and like juicy, moody reverb, it's dark as fuck. Just
Yeah,
trust.
and there's really not that much high end in most things in that's so loud that it creates reverb that is high end.
right. It's an
You know?
artificial thing that was introduced in like
Right.
the 80s.
Yes.
That like that's why 80s music sound like 80s music in general was all about being like synthetic at the time.
Right.
But like that's a big part of it is all those big snare rooms and shit. Looking at you, Phil. All right.
I think
But
we
yeah.
have that Phil on here, don't we? On the
Maybe.
soundboard.
Don't go.
No, I
search
don't.
it.
I'm not going
search it.
searching.
No, we don't.
Don't go search. Thank you.
Close enough.
It's the closest thing.
So
That's a good one.
yeah, dark, because also like it needs to be darker than your sound anyways. And yeah, it's just better to EQ into that reverb, and then throw an EQ afterwards just in case.
Just in case, yeah. And then maybe
Yes.
have a little fun and create little
Oh, yeah.
resonant points
Oh, yeah.
and dips throughout
sure.
it to give
Make
it
it
some
comb.
tonality.
Make it
Yeah.
comb, yeah.
Little
Don't make it
comb.
comb too much.
Not
Throw-
too much.
Throw a chorus on it. Fucking make it thin.
Saturate it, please.
Squish it
Saturate
more
your
mono.
reverbs.
Make it mono.
I like
Not,
throwing
not mono, but
not
you know what I
super
mean.
mono, but yeah,
Pretty mono. Make
Also,
your reverb
just
fairly.
just mess with the stereo space of your reverb.
Yes.
Just like toy with that because it doesn't have to be the widest thing on planet Earth. Trust. It doesn't.
Yeah. Wider is better for short.
Or automate it.
Mhm.
Like that shit's fucking hella cool.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Especially if you're
Yeah.
gonna
Do it on a build
make
up.
a reverb thing. Yeah, if you're gonna
Fucking reverb
OTT
that's just
stuff or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Yeah,
you kind of
It's the coolest.
do all the things
Opens
with
back
it.
up, yeah.
Have filters, blah, blah, blah. And then fucking can smash
Mm-hmm.
bass sounds in people's faces.
So,
Yes.
so that's tip number 1.
Oh, wow.
Tip number 2.
We have 2
Oh, you
tips
got
of the
another one.
week?
Just came up with
Sheesh.
another one as you were talking.
It's in the
bro.
similar vein.
Okay.
No, I have it written down. I just
Oh.
was like, oh, this actually can segue nicely. EQing into your saturation and your compression. And you can EQ after, but like if you think about what the saturator or the compressor is doing, it's kind of trying to normalize the signal. So EQing after, you're kind of like undoing what you compressed to a certain degree or what you saturated to a certain degree. So think about that, and that's why this tip is a thing, because like EQing into your compressor, then you can like remove a frequency, and then like you can kind of drastically remove it, and then use the compressor to kind of re-glue the sound to make that dip kind of disappear, kind of thing. And same thing with distortion. You can like kind of comb the sound into your gain reduction plugin, if you will. And it's the sauciest, because you're just going to get a nice even sound afterwards. Like that's the point. Helps like even out all your fucking grooves that you did if you did a bunch of like EQ moves. Like, and you can also do the opposite. You can do one of my favorite things ever, boosting a bunch of random shit into a distortion unit. That gives you the coolest stuff ever. Same thing with a compressor, because it's gonna, depending on what the, like if it's a really frequency dynamic sound, meaning it like is gonna like a drum break. It's got a little kick drum. It's got snare. It's got like hi-hat. So it's like all over the place. A vocal.
It's moving around.
The compressor is gonna like catch different things differently, depending on what is louder at any given moment. So as you boost certain things, it's just gonna hit the compressor all fucking weird. And it's a fun way to sound design. It's a fun way to fucking get some fun movement.
Yeah.
And
you can get really nice
kind of
movement by doing some sort of moving EQing before saturation or compression.
That too. That true.
That's really great.
That
true.
That true too. That true too.
Can confirm that true.
That true. Sick. Yeah. So those are my 2 tips.
Great tips.
EQ into your reverb.
Yep.
Make it dark.
And into your
and
saturators.
EQ into your saturator and compressors, up and down. I'd say down for like gluing and up for sound design.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about
up
it.
To
kind of thing.
Enunciate, almost, or something.
Right. I don't boost a lot of shit at the end. At the end, a lot of stuff is just little dips and shelves and stuff. Like I'm not doing crazy boosts.
True. Yeah, and if you might be inclined to do a boost, here's another tip. Put an EQ bell on either side of the place that you want to boost and pull those down.
Right.
Do little dips outside of the main thing.
Right.
It will feel like it got louder.
Right. It's also due to the phasing of the EQ. It is going to slightly attenuate those frequencies at the crossover. Wow, I said a lot of big words there.
Attenuate the frequencies of the crossover.
I do this for a living.
Look at him go.
You said doo-doo.
I do for a living, guys. All right, that is true. Because if I didn't do, I'd probably die.
Yeah, true.
So I do for a living.
Yeah.
I also do this for a living.
Sure.
So hit that subscribe button, folks, so we can share this with the world.
Welcome back to the Doo-Doo Cast.
You share it with the world so that it gets shared.
Right.
The world.
We need you, our family.
Yeah. We don't know all the people. You do.
That's true. You have friends. We have no friends,
have all the
guys.
friends.
That's why we made this podcast, so we could make friends with you guys. If you're a producer out there, hi, I'm Caleb.
Hi.
I like making tunes too.
It almost sounds like you said meat tunes.
Meat tunes
I like
too.
Those
making
meat
tunes too.
Do you guys like making meat tunes?
Meat tune bangers.
Yeah. What does that
Austin
sound like?
does make meat
He
tunes.
does kind of make meat tunes.
Yeah. Just weird fleshy.
Oh, we should
Fleshy.
record the
Humping.
chicken smashing one of these days.
The chicken
Chicken
smashing? What is that?
Whatever you call it. Where you
Oh, where
flatten
I'm
the
hammering
meat.
the yeah. Good call.
That'd be pretty fun.
Folks,
It just sounds like ting, ting,
yeah.
tung, tung,
Well, if you
tung.
slow it down, it probably sounds cool. Yeah. Doom.
Oh, yeah,
Some
yeah,
weird
yeah.
loopiness.
Yeah.
Folks,
Sub drop into the squish.
record shit in your everyday life. We,
Yes.
for example, have a Zoom recorder, one of those little field recorders. You can use, honestly, an iPhone like nowadays sounds pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Just like fucking record shit all the time. Just like you're cutting vegetables and you're like, actually, what if when I'm cutting these vegetables, there's like a fucking 16-bar loop that's just the sauciest loop ever. And nobody would guess that it's just you chopping a carrot and then maybe going,
That will happen.
and it's just like, and you're like, it's the next banger, you know?
Pretty much.
That shit happens on a daily basis around the world.
Yeah, and the more
And people do not record it, and it's a shame.
it is a shame. If you stick random atmospheric sounds or random sounds from reality in your tune, then you will not need as much reverb on all your sounds. Because the thing you want when you add all that reverb is you want space, and you want to feel the space. So if you just literally put space in there, I mean, we've talked about it many times, as we have most of these things. Put atmosphere, noise, something as a bed in your tune, and it'll give it a little bit of a more, spatial kind of feel.
Especially
to
if
it.
it's a
Organic.
organic kind of feel, quality.
Yep.
Especially if it's like a real life, real world, real room recording. You get that natural short reverb, but it's enough for you to hear the space. That's the sauce. That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what we're all trying to do with our short reverbs.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I'm saying just record like a room with nothing happening. Like just record a blank room
Oh.
with nobody doing anything in it, and then use that. Also using like little
fun.
one shots and things are good
Sure. Yeah.
as well for that natural room thing. But like we've said before, record your own song in a room and then layer that on top of your song. And it is a pretty fun vibe. I've done it one time so far, and it was awesome.
And it was sick, yeah. I don't know.
It
We
was
got
so
so
good.
pumped on that idea, and then we just never followed through with it.
Yeah, well, not releasing anything.
Well, yeah, that and I mean, as I was
time.
hearing you guys say that, a thought popped in my head.
Yeah.
When you hear
Tell us about
space, yeah, okay.
Tell us about your thought, Caleb.
My thought is, please consider the following.
Right.
It's a Bill Nye reference. Shout out anybody who got that.
I'm too young.
That's too bad.
Who's Bill Nye?
The science guy, Bill Nye. The science guy.
Some atheist motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a science educator. No, just kidding, Bill. I love you. Real note though, what I was thinking is the space in a track. Like you can achieve efficient space via contrast. So if you have a dry lead line with a dry drum kit, but you have a percussion element that is you recorded tapping the desk.
Yeah.
And it's like got your room reverb in it of the kitchen that you were recording it in. And you have that, you can kind of, by turning it down and up, you can kind of like move the entire depth of the song around the one element that has a room on it. You know, the other two are dry, so they're kind of just they're kind of flat planes, and the other one that has a room has like a little bit of thickness to it. And you kind of moving it in and out of each other one and kind of changing the volumes allows you to like manipulate the depth just based on the difference of depth between the different things. Which is kind of what I at least me, like do inherently. You know, there's just like a couple elements, one at a time at the most of the time, that are wet of any kind of degree.
Right.
Like have any kind of like reverb or anything like that. Like aside from spatial mid-side style of shit. Like
or like a chorus.
Right. None of that. Specifically delay or reverb. Like
Just the delays and reverbs
yeah.
is what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's
so
only
one of those
at a time
couple of
for the
those
most part.
happening at the same time.
And that allows
Yeah, I do
me-
that as well.
It allows me to like, oh, this thing happens here, and then you hear this thing that happens back here, and then this thing happens here, and then you hear a couple things happen here. Oh, this thing happened here. So it kind of just like gives you the depth, and then everything else can just kind of be scaffolding.
Yeah.
That all this stuff kind of happens in.
Yeah.
And it gives those things depth because you're hearing things happen in between them.
Right.
You know, so your brain is just like, oh, that's back there.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
even though it's dry and it's just 2 decibels quieter than the drums that are right in front of your face, but you're like, oh, the chords came in between them, so there must be sufficient space. You know,
Right.
Don't quote me. This is like a working theory. I'm calling it unified
Mansfield
depth
theory.
theory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Unified depth
unified
theory.
depth theory.
Yes.
Yes.
YouTube title.
I'm quite a physicist now.
Yeah, you got a paper coming out on that. Get
I do.
published, I think.
I do indeed.
It's like
It
700
needs to be
pages?
reviewed
It's
by
actually-
the peers.
Yeah,
first.
but it's I'm working closely with Eric.
Andre. Master of unified.
I am
depth
indeed
theory.
working with Eric Andre, yes. But I'm also working. I can't tell you guys.
That's fair. You got the Eric. You guys can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, we tell you guys a lot. Like, you don't have to know
We
everything.
do tell you guys a lot.
Yeah.
If we're being 100% honest, look at that. I'm a
Yeah.
goddamn
Achieving
musician.
that like spatial thing is one of the hardest things to figure out. I feel.
But I feel like that's a good place to start. Start with one wet thing
Mm-hmm.
and a couple dry at different volumes.
Yeah, I think you
That is a good spot. Yeah.
almost like there's that thing for sure. That's a good thing to do to get some space going. Another thing I think is good for space is thinking about what frequency content is being used by those things. So if it's further away, pulling out high end more.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Huge.
All
Huge.
those kind of things. Like if it's really close, it's real bright and wide. Or at least the reflections are wide. So that will give you space
Dude, right there.
type of things.
I'm just going to pause you right there. That's a fun little bit. Anything that's
So
close.
good.
The main signal is, I'd say 60-40 mono.
Right.
So 60%
At
mono,
least, yeah.
40% like a little bit into the width. But then you have like a little slap back, like a little reflection on
Yes.
it. That's wide.
Wide.
Because that helps like emphasize like, oh, it's in front of you and it's hitting the
Right.
first reflection and it's going back.
And you're getting
immediately.
high end reflection.
Right.
Like
It's not, you don't.
it's not super high.
No,
but
it's not
like,
crispy. It's not higher
Right.
than the original, I would say.
True. True. Yeah. Tailor it back
but it's-
in, but pull lows out.
Right. But it's also probably your brightest in the mix in terms of reverbs.
The sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so too.
Yeah, that's a fun little trick, especially for like
Yeah.
vocals and stuff like that.
If you want your room to be big too, then make that slap a little bit longer.
Yeah, just
You know?
just add more pre-delay.
Then your walls are further away from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
You're creating
sound
a
that you're
big
hearing.
space.
Yeah. Or so and then the reverb that is the far away reverb is going to be basically like fairly mono and then with a little bit of sides and really dark and
Sure.
just kind of compact
Right.
coming at you, you know.
Fun.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
So then you got your fucking
Right. You have this
wide
nice
front
contrast.
close thing and then the far away back things that are tucked back.
And if you're doing your due diligence and you're not listening to these reverb parallel wet channels like soloed kind of thing, you should be able to have your dark far away reverb sit like right on top of the like kick drum. You know, like it's kind of scary putting anything dark mono because it's, you know, right there with your kick and
You're
shit.
adding,
but
mud to
right, you
low
think,
end.
but like if it's wide, it's still, guys, it's still there. It's still coming out of both
True.
speakers. Like it's still fucking up the bottom end anyways. So you got to get over that, and you got to just work on how much you're cutting out the bottom end while it's in the mix, because it might, if you solo it, it might be not as dark as you want it to be, but when it's in the mix, you're like, oh, it's like exactly
it feels
like
dark.
Yeah, it feels nice and dark.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just trust your gut on that, and fucking, it's not gonna affect the kick if it's mono. It'll be fine.
Yep. And when you're fucking around with that reverb, like the tip of the week, just grab a node on an EQ before the reverb, play the song with everything happening, and then pull it down and drag it around, and just find where it all of a sudden will like
fun.
It just like will sit in there all of a sudden.
Hell yeah.
And
just
like
sucks.
it gets out of the way, and then all of a sudden it just is there, and that's the sauce.
On that note, if you don't mind me going into like expanding upon that, if you don't
for
mind,
it.
if I don't mind,
I don't mind
circling back and piggybacking on your.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we don't talk about it. You really dragged that on. I was okay with it at first.
Damn, Caleb.
Okay.
No way.
Well, I'm gonna do it
What's
anyways.
the piggyback? Yeah.
Gonna throw back to UBK. Happy Fun Time Hour, folks. If you don't know about this podcast, it's done now. You can check out what they're doing now. Slate Digital and
Slate
Kush Audio.
Not Slate.
No,
They would be laughing so hard. Though.
no, is it not? Who is it?
It's Kush.
Well, no, there's Kush, but that's Gregory's. But Nathan's a part of Slate, I'm pretty sure.
No, they always make fun of Slate.
Well, he's a part of another. He has his own little
I could see
thing that he does.
I don't remember what it is.
Swear.
But
I
I
don't
know they
remember either.
always make fun of Slate.
Yeah,
for the
I've only listened to
plugins.
them a little bit, and I remember them making fun of Slate.
Good, good. Well, I hope they make fun of me.
Yeah, fuck Slate though.
To be fair, I haven't listened to any newer episodes. And by newer, I mean the later episodes in 3 years. I'm just now restarting from the beginning again.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, it's all sick as fuck. And
Nice,
at this
nice.
point, he only has Kush. But what they were talking about is a little reverb trick where I don't remember if we brought this up on the podcast or not. I don't think
We might
did.
have talked about it last week, but I don't know.
I can't remember. We're gonna reiterate it. So basically, you have your sound. Take a vocal, for example.
I don't think we did talk about this. This is really good.
Yeah, it's
a gem. It's free, too.
It's sick. It is free. It's true.
It's a professional show.
So you take your vocal and you throw a reverb on it.
That's right.
And go 50-50, wet, dry, so they're both the exact same level, basically, so you can hear them equally, because this is an exercise at the start. So first thing you're going to do is fuck with the pre-delay, and you're just going to start moving the pre-delay until it just gets out of the way of the dry signal, like just out of the way. Like once the phrasing ends, you start getting the kind of reverb to start coming in. And if it's like a one shot, it's really easy to get this done because you just wait for the hit and then you hear the reverb. Yeah, boom, perfect. And then from there, you fuck with the decay, where it is fully decayed by the next phrase. So this is where like using a vocal is best, where every transient of the vocal, the pre-delay gets it out of the way of the dry signal, and then the decay is decaying like right before the next kind of like transient of the vocal comes in. Then you just fucking tuck that baby till you fucking can't really tell it's there. Like you tuck it with the mix all running at the same time. So unsolo it, and now you're listening to the whole track, and just tuck that reverb till it's fucking, you can't tell that it's there starting from 50 to 50. So just work your way down until it just kind of disappears. And then A-B that bitch. And you'll be amazed how much you can't hear, but you hear. Mm-hmm. That like a reverb, like that to me is where a reverb should sit. Is like in that range where it's unnoticeable, but it's there. Unless it's like a creative reverb throw and kind of shit. But like if it's any kind of like gluing reverb, spatial reverb, like it should sit just under your like range where you can tell it's there. It should just affect the mix, and that's it. And this trick has worked for me a million times. It's fucking great.
You've just mastered that trick, basically.
I use that shit all the time. In the past like 3 weeks, I'm like, this is the sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sick.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
I got nothing to add to that.
All right,
it's perfect.
It's fun.
Word, I do. One fun on a reverb note. A lot of reverb on this episode.
I like reverb.
Same. A fun trick to do with a reverb is throw a bunch of OTTs after the reverb.
A bunch of them.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. If you want to get fancy with it, macro one OTT to a bunch of knobs and then duplicate it a fucking ton of times so you can dial the OTT. But like on a massive level. But do a reverb into that, and there's like all sorts of noise that's happening way later than you can hear it actually happening or really see it much. So that OTT will just suck all this weird little particles out of your
particle
reverb. It does sound like particles.
Yeah,
a little
they are
bit.
kind of just like weird
Turns
fragments.
into like almost like clicky or like I don't know.
Yeah.
That shit's fun.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Little sound design move.
Eliminate. He'll do 8 OTTs in a row, and it's called the octagon.
Sure.
And it started out completely as like a shitpost joke because it's Eliminate and he's a goober.
Of course.
But yeah, people in like his like community or whatever have actually been doing it, and that is the move. Yeah, set up the octagon, macro the dry wet, the gains, and the like time on it. Play around.
Yep.
If you have 8 of them at just like 10% each, 8% each, it's a little bit different than just 1 at 100%.
But what about 9?
Oh shit, the nonagon.
The nonagon.
Caleb, you're breaking bounds.
The
dude.
nonagon. It has come to take your children.
The nonagon.
It will suck their blood and eat their dicks.
Another fun thing to do is super pumpy reverbs.
Talk about eating children's dick on the producer's lounge.
That's right.
That's how we do it.
Well, the nonagon.
The nonagon. Yeah, not us.
Yeah,
not us. We would never.
What?
That's terrible. Good
I
grief.
don't like that. It sounds like we're being sarcastic right now.
Us?
Never.
Good grief.
I don't even like dicks.
No. Me neither. Moving on. What are some fun delay tricks?
Fun delay tricks?
I mean, OTT on delay is fun too, but
Oh, I got a good one. On a noise that is a consistent thing that happens, not just like a one shot. Well, it could work on one shot, but do either a panning effect or a randomly panning thing before the delay, because then the delay will spit out a different panned delay.
Oh, so
when
if
it happens.
If you take it off ping pong mode, is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, normal.
Yeah,
just
so
a
it'll-
straight up normal delay with like
think about putting an
a
auto pan before
like
it.
a auto pan or
Yeah.
a random on the pan or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
And just have it there, so it's like do 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 do, and it's like panning back and forth before the delay. So then when it's over here, you get choo, 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 and then it's over here, you get whatever happens
so
at
it's
that
constantly
moment.
like raining down on each ear.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sick
Yeah, it's a
nug.
good move.
And it's
Let's
raining
go.
down like in between. You're getting all that sweet in between kind of imagery.
Right. It's
You are
do a
kind of
bunch.
breaking up the mud too with that a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
Or making it.
Or making more.
Depending on
Yeah,
what
that's
the
a
sound
fun
is,
one.
I suppose.
You're making different mud. You're exchanging.
Yeah.
It's a clear transaction.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's definitely
it's
a fun thing
wide
to
mud.
think about because as far as like the Ableton stock delay goes, it's when you use it, it's just in ping pong mode, it's just hard left or it's just hard right. So finding any way
Yeah.
to like play with in between that, or maybe like
Yeah, that
multi-band
is
it
a
in
bummer,
your
huh?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an easy thing to work around if you know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
But-
Utility with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
and
weird
just make
that
your
like
own, but yeah.
we're on Ableton 11 and they still don't have any sort of like you can't even control the width of it. It's like that's a little strange.
Yeah, something.
Well, they know. They know that you can do it with the utility.
Exactly, and that's probably why they haven't done anything. Yeah,
Lazy. Fix it, boys. Fix
fix it.
guys.
Honestly, yeah, fix it.
There's a few things like that with Bitwig that I wish they would do.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Um,
It's probably hard though. I'm not a coder, so.
Yeah, who knows?
I can
right?
think of a couple that aren't that hard.
Oh, okay. Go on.
A fucking
Rant sesh. Let's go. Here we go. End of the pod. We're just
Ranch?
gonna rant about rant.
I want a easy
Dude,
way to
you got me all excited, dude.
swap the left and the right.
Yes.
There's dual pan, which
Not
you
good
can
enough.
do it with that. You can just turn both knobs. Boom, boom.
Yeah. It's
I'm trying to think of what the thing is that I'm thinking of that I used to do in Ableton with the utility. There's a
Just
move.
swap?
Weren't there just two little
There
drop
is
downs
swap.
that just phase swapped the left and the right on the top left? Wasn't that
can-
just it? It was just like you phased the left and then the right.
There's
and two little
the
knobs.
drop down. There's that left right
Yeah.
thing. I always forget what
It
those
has
do.
it has a drop down
Where you can
and
just
then
hit
it has
swap.
a phase shift. The drop down has you can select either the left, the right, or regular or swapped. And then it has here, yeah, we'll just take a look at it. And then it has the phase flop
Right.
buttons on it as well. But there's something about it that I literally had to make a ridiculous rack to pull it off.
to do
Oh,
what?
I know what it is. I want to be able to just select the left or the right channel. I don't understand why it's hard to do.
Oh
in
no, so that's
Bitwig.
what. Oh, in Bitwig, it's a weird thing.
On this one, you
Oh.
can just select left.
yeah.
But in Bitwig, you can't just you have to take a utility, pan it to the left, and then do another utility, and then width down.
Really?
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like-
you'd have to do that.
Yep.
Isn't that what
And
just
then-
panning it
and
to
then
the
Another
left?
one.
Why isn't it let me? Here we go.
Yep.
You have to do that.
Like that.
Really?
That's the
That doesn't
only
make
way
sense because I
can
thought like
figure it out.
the whole point
So
of
it
like
does have
panning
the
it to
swap
the left.
left right.
Yeah, that's invert and swap.
Oh, and then you're making it mono.
Right, because you
Right.
just want the left signal.
So-
like if
So
this,
Right.
on just that one, you can't just turn the width down. Also with the pan left.
I don't know.
Nope.
What?
No.
That's so weird.
Probably because they're all
The pan's probably last.
Yeah, it's not like a left right through the knobs. It's just all
It
at
goes
once or
to
something.
the width before it goes to the pan, basically. That's a phase swap.
It's not the same though.
No. Yeah, it's annoying. I don't get
That's
that.
strange. That's really weird. That's literally the one and only thing I've ever seen Bitwig do that is like less than Ableton. Less superior.
And Ableton has utility where you can
Yeah,
just literally
you just
listen to
select
that.
the left channel.
Yeah.
That shit, like, why? Someone explained to me, and I know Russ explained it to me one time because I was complaining about it when we were early Bitwig days. I don't really like need to do that very often anymore. You know, like I used to do it a lot more.
Yeah.
Like I would do like a mud pie, but I would have it really like doing weird wide shit. And then I would want to go and select just like the left channel to get this one like noise off of that one speaker. But I don't really do my mud pies that way anymore. I don't do a lot of width in my mud
I can
pies.
do that afterwards. If need be.
I'll do a little bit of width.
Yeah, just make it lively. But
Yeah.
It doesn't need
But
to
it
be,
doesn't, yeah.
It doesn't need to go crazy at that moment.
We're trying to make cool sounds. We're not trying to make a room.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your mud pie needs to be kind of bare. You're more focusing on the coolness of the sounds than you are the coolness of what it's doing.
Right.
Spatially or depth wise. You're like, you can add that later with chorus and fucking making two of them and slowing one down and get a nice fucking Haas and going or whatever the fuck you want to do to get width. Like there's fucking plenty to do. Yeah. 100%. Making your mud pies pretty dry is good.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
Another really interesting thing you can do with the delay, I don't know how you would just build it with stock plugins, but Melda has a spectral delay where you can control the feedback amount with an EQ basically. So in your spectrum, let's say like 500 hertz, you wanted it to feedback less, you could make like a little divot in their EQ and it feedbacks a little bit less. Oh,
Yeah.
Fab Pro R has a similar thing, but with reverb instead of a delay.
Bitwig has a delay that you could do that with.
That's a fun concept to play with.
Because you're basically, all you're doing with that, it's a really old school move. You're doing an EQ adjustment to the frequent or the feedback chamber.
Yeah, the tank.
Yeah, that
Exactly.
feedback tank. You tell it.
Feedback tank.
You tell it, I want 1 more dB of 1,000 hertz. It will every single time be compiling that 1 hertz a little bit more than it was before.
Right.
And it's so touchy.
It's very touchy.
I know,
Working with
right?
those, like that stuff is really touchy.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun though.
It's super fun.
Especially if you can like boost. Because with the M like spectral delay, you can't boost, you can only take away. But I imagine if there was like if you could go like positive 100% from the EQ.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that shit just stacks up.
Yeah, it just
Going
feedbacks
crazy,
super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing to play with. Like delays and just,
Delays are hella fun.
Delays are so much fun.
They're wild.
Yeah.
Especially once you start splitting shit up frequency-wise. It starts getting...
Multi-banded.
Yeah, it starts getting crazy. Yeah, just multi-band your delays and see what happens.
What I love doing with the delay is setting it to 100% wet, super short delay with no feedback, setting it to like the tape setting to where it adjusts like where it does like a pitch when you change the speed, you know? And then doing a random, just barely nudging the speed of the delay to give a wobble.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's one of the most efficient
good.
ways to get that.
It's like a tape delay, or that tape like wobble thing
Right,
that
'cause,
everybody wants in lo-fi.
Just
exactly.
Just putting it
Exactly.
on, just putting a random on like your synth's master tune. It's still not gonna get like that, like the pitching that people associate with like lo-fi. Yeah, like it's a tape. Pitching.
It's after all the compression and saturation and shit.
It's like a final, like that's from the mix stage when they were putting it on tape and back and on and splicing it and doing a bunch of shit. And then you get this or it's just old, but it's like on tape, so you get that fucking super fucking fucked up warble. Although putting it at the source level is also good, having a little bit of that, because like a guy playing the keyboard, if it's an old synth, it's going to be, cooler, and it's going to slowly warm up, so it's going to like slightly pitch differently or whatever. So like having all those little bits included is good. As much little movement as possible,
Yeah, you could practically do a very, very mellow version of that on anything in your song.
Yeah.
And just be okay with it.
Yeah.
It's going to mostly be good.
Yeah. Just gives it a little more movement and evolution.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you could stick it on the drum channel. You can stick it on your bass channel. You could, everything.
Right.
You could just do that.
Right.
And give it that extra sauce.
Right, exactly.
It's a good thing to do.
Yep, it is a good thing to do. You know what's also a good thing to do?
Be done. Go home.
in the pod.
Click that
subscribe button.
subscribe button.
Subscribe.
That's what it is.
Damn.
Love you guys. We couldn't do this without you, but we've been doing it before you. We're here.
Is that our new thing now?
Folks, we love you guys. No fucking joke. Thanks for all the
Always
support.
400.
If you like the show, subscribe. I said it again. There you go.
We appreciate you all.
Um,
One of our recent comments on the YouTube video was, I found you guys from TikTok land, and I came over to your YouTube page. It's happening.
Let's go.
Big ups.
We love you guys for coming out here.
if you don't know where the
Yeah.
TikTok is, it's in the description below.
Yeah. And, always400.com, you fucking nerds.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Criminy Christmas.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Folks, we'll see you next week. Have a good week. Make some tunes. Make those bangers. Make those ballads. We love you.